Hello everybody, this is going to be a video on quite a treasured fan in my collection that I've been meaning to show for quite a while. So this is my 1960s Vent-Axia standard range S9WW. Now this fan I purchased from eBay about a month ago now, and it arrived. This fan has had a fair little bit of work done to it. There's one last thing I need to do, which I haven't yet done, is wire the controller to it. That's just something I've not really been comfortable doing, because I have the 4-core cable that I need for it, but it's not the one I need though. It came with this one, but it's got 3 live wires and 1 earth wire, so it's really confusing where each one goes. Now, apparently that's kind of like 3-phase cable. So what I've got it on now is this generic cable. As you can see, it's just Vent-Axia standard range connector plug. So this is going to be a rather long video. There's going to be a little bit of history about Vent-Axia in this video, which I'm going to start rambling on about now. So Vent-Axia started in 1936, and they brought out the Silent 6 fan, which I don't have an example of, and I probably never will. Very rare, like an actual relic of a fan. It's insane. Then they brought out the X-Type, which is a fan you may have seen in public, maybe. It's the one with like the 3 discs bolted together with like gaps in between to like baffle the air, to just blow it out in different directions. Apparently it was like a trick used for, I think, more a silent operation, I believe. They were very rare. Something I'm more likely to get than a standard 6. But no, not a standard 6, a silent 6. But then they bring out these ranges of fans, the standard range. This came out in the very late 50s, early 60s. And this fan has ran up to a very shocking date of 2022, I believe these were discontinued, which is mental. Like, this fan has took the reign of Vent-Axia for years. This has been one of the best product lines they've ever made. It's changed over the years. It has changed. Like, they put different motors in them, getting newer. They changed the back grille design. They did that simply because the universal range, which is the one with the centrifugally operated auto spring shutter, which the centrifugal force inside it pushes the lugs open to open the shutters. It's like these little, I don't particularly know how it works. I think it's like the centrifugal force like pushes apart these magnets, like repels it kind of, and then it knocks these like lugs to then open the shutters. I think that's how it goes, something like that. If someone can explain in the comments, I would really enjoy that. I'd really appreciate that. I can barely talk today. This fan is just a fan I have wanted for absolutely ages. You would not believe it. I have wanted this fan since 2024, around like August time, I believe. After the universal range, that only ran for like around 10 years because they were so problematic. Like, they weren't great because of the abnormal size of the motors, especially on the 6-inch fans. Like 7 to 12 7, 9 and 12 were okay, because they had a fair bit for the air to go through, but the 6s, it was more just like a large circle, but then like just these small little gaps for the air to go through. And obviously small tiny blades, which I kind of have an example of. It's not a universal 6, but however it is a Vent-Axia VA150 fan, which was a more domestic range that they converted the universal into. It was like this blade design, so not much area for the air to pass through, so it really wasn't great. Exact blades, just very heavily modified on the hub. This fan doesn't run. I don't know why. Well, I do. The motor's dead. It's all knackered, so I took the copper out of the motor, and if anybody has a spare motor core for one of these, or just like a motor itself, I would really appreciate that. But yeah, that's just an example I'm showing you. Now, after the universal range, as well as the standard range, the T-Series was introduced. They made the T-Series because of probably most likely about the amount of complaints they got from the universal range customers saying these fans aren't good enough, just stuff like that. You need to change the design and things like that. So they just swapped back to standards, but then when they got the T-Series, they was like, could you swap our universal range fans out for the T-Series? Or could you swap our standard range fans out for the T-Series? And then, and so on. But then that's really it for the history of Vent-Axia. They obviously made a few like domestic fans, like the VA100, VA150, like I showed you, and a few bathroom fans, like VA100. They're still in production today. A lot of the fans, except for the standard range. The T-Series is still going. It's probably going to overtake the T-Series. And no, the standard ranges. Talking on the subject of T-Series, I actually have a T-Series example, which I'll show you here, just to kind of show you what the T-Series is kind of like. This fan doesn't actually run proper at the moment. I just need to get the grey capacitor pack for it, because the blue one isn't right. So this is the TX12. Can't even fit it in frame. This thing weighs an absolute ton. It's huge. It's absolutely colossal. It's mental. It blows so much air. Spin down's brilliant on it. Still going now. I spun it as soon as I put it down. It's only just stopped. X-Blair was another competing. Barely talk. I'm rambling a little bit here, aren't I? Right, another competing company making fans like the GX, the WX, PX, RX, and then the GXCs, which were quite good, like decent, but not the best. Compared to Vent-Axias, but these standard ranges are brilliant. The universal 12-inch fans they were powerful. It's another fan I'm after, but the fan I'm most after at the moment is a standard range 12 wall fan. Obviously, I've done so much rambling about the fan of that place, that party that I went to, which has just really influenced me on extractor fans, and that's what got me started. And I just really want to get my hands on one of those fans. This fan, focusing back to this one, has had some repairs done to it. Like, if we look at the shutters here, it's a very, very rare model of standard range 9, black even, to be fitted with Irish shutters. This is a very rare thing for the black standards to have. I didn't even think they made black Irish shutters. I only thought they made black Irish shutters for the X-Type series of fans. it's actually mental how they actually made them for this standard range fan. So this must be a very rare model. Well, the fan isn't too rare, but it is at the same time because these black standards are quite rare than the white ones. However, these were cheaper than the white ones because they weren't as aesthetically pleasing as the white ones, obviously because of the dark colour scheme, but they were good for dark rooms or like pubs where it's just a generally dark environment, or like a factory, or a bathroom where it doesn't really matter about the extractor fan, it just is there to do its job. However, for more like offices, more higher end pubs, properties and things, the white one was more in demand. However, they were a bit more expensive. Now, if I can find it, which I should be able to, I'm going to show you its controller. I have another Vent-Axia controller in here. Ah, there it is, in this little tub here. A Vent-Axia standard range 1950s 60s controller. This was something you most likely see quite often. Vent-Axia there. This, I'm debating whether to wire up or not. It's very weighty. Capacitor looks very gnarly on it. Then I also have a controller for the T-Series fan. Here. This controller weighs virtually nothing compared to this standard one. It's because inside these controllers, it's practically nothing. Because I'll open them both up. This is the difference in the controllers. This is a T-Series controller. This has got a 7 capacitor pack, which this came from a collector called Stan Tandreismore. Shout out to him. He got this from a skip, this controller, but he forgot he had it, and he found this in his garage when he was sorting it out. So I asked if I could trade him a few things for it, and he said yes. So I've got a controller here for a TX7, but it doesn't really matter. It'll work on a 12, but it looks very complicated to wire. Here's just the back box for it. Now, there was no back box for these fans. It was just this for these controllers of the standards. This is the front piece. It's got your intake and extract buttons there, and then the hole where the dial would be, and then a very dodgy looking controller setup with that beefy capacitor I was telling you about. Very complicated. You can barely see the terminals labelled there. It's really hard to see. A little neon light that's probably dead. A fuse. Obviously, a few things. It also came with a warning thing, which I lost, saying this is a very high voltage piece of equipment. Be very careful when wiring this up. So yeah, this basically was the back box. You just put this on the wall. However, a bit better with the T-Series because you could just put this on the wall, and then yeah. However, I need to get both of these wired up to the correct fan, and a 12 capacitor pack to go here. So yeah. Now, something you do see is this controller named Ecotronic, or 1.5 amp, used on the newer 1990s to 2000s to present day standard range fans, because they no longer produce the Rangemaster controller, which was the more boxy one. Very similar in design to this, but the high speed was like that way, obviously, and it was a bit different. You've obviously seen that in many videos, so I don't have one of those at the moment, but yeah. They also made a black one, which is exactly the same to that universal styled one. I was just telling you about that. But yeah. I don't believe you can use the T-Series controller on the standard ranges. However, I've seen some pretty dodgy rig-ups of it. Now, the T-Series does have more functions than the standard range. Like, it has an auto function, which is to fit the fan on a PIR, which you can do with this, but it's not really a setting you can actually have on the controller. Then you can also have shutter open and fan off. And then obviously a 3-speed selection, which the standard range also does have. And also obviously intake and extract. I don't know if I already mentioned that. But yeah, very... Because some of these controllers have variable speed, which kind of like slides across. Like no clickiness, just like a variable speed. Which is cool. There's a video, I forgot the channel name, it was something about Hoovers, but he has a standard 9 white one, fairly newer 2000s one, with the older logo, which does actually run off of one of those variable speed controllers that he has. That's one of the first videos I watched on the standard range. But now, something very iconic that this fan does have is the egg crate waffle grill on the back, which I'm sure a lot of you can now recognise from walking down the road of like rough areas, pubs and clubs. I did that exact grill in white. Just you see that in the window. Feel a big downdraft from it when the fan was running, or in the 70s. Now, something interesting, which I actually am not... I'm fairly confused to why they did this, but this does actually explain why there's usually a mucky mark around the fan in 6 segments, because they blow up air as well. But yeah, these pull cords on the fan, these were just I bought these off of Amazon. They're just generic light switch pull cords that I've modified to fit the standard range toggles and things like that. I got a big pack because no doubt I'll probably need more pull cords for different fans and that, but yeah. I'm going to run this fan now and then I'll sign it off there. So, if I just angle it right, I will lower the camera down so you'll be able to see it. Just a minute. There we go. Right, I shall plug this fan in and you'll be able to see it well. And off she goes. Very silent running these fans are. This is just something you could definitely have just running in the background without any disruption. A lot of the fans just sound like a dying turkey nowadays. T-Series are fairly silent though. But this takes in so much air, you won't believe it. Better than some of the fans I own. But the T-Series does take in a little bit more air than this guy. So what's it run for this? I'm not going to turn it around, it's a bit awkward to do. But I'll move you around it whilst it's running. Sort of close up shot. Oh yeah, I can see it's moving the micro mark. That's the back. Because the air deflectors are actually kind of pointing at the fan. Because you can move this waffle grill around. Extremely silent. Definitely a testament to the time of Vent-Axia and the testament of quality on the fans nowadays. So, a bit. It's a decent spin down. It was very stiff when I got it. I haven't oiled it, but it's just freed up naturally after being hand spun and ran. So yeah, that's going to be my little video on the Vent-Axia standard range. Thanks for watching and bye.